For large-scale operations, this can easily total in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. New lighting, HVAC, dehumidifiers, heat curtains, controllers not only can cost a fortune, but are expensive to operate. This is just the unfortunate reality of running a grow facility, but not anymore. If you've heard of a company called Green Rebates, then you already know what I'm talking about. Green Rebates changed the entire indoor cultivation industry seemingly overnight. They are the leading rebate and incentive management company in the US, and their sole purpose is to get you paid for the purchase of new grow equipment. Not a loan, real cash paid to growers. To date, Green Rebates has put more than $75 million back in the pockets of growers all across the nation. It doesn't matter if you've just purchased new equipment, are planning an expansion, opening a new facility, or maybe even just waiting for the economy to turn around before making any purchasing decisions. If you're a grower, you need to call the team at Green Rebates. They run an in-depth review of your facility to find all applicable equipment and energy rebates, and can connect you with every leading product manufacturer to find the right fit for your needs. Then they show up with a check. It won't cost you anything to find out how much money is being left on the table. Money that you can use to grow your business. Call Green Rebates, tell them you heard about them on the Cannabis and Tech Today podcast, and get ready to get paid.
Welcome to another episode of Cannabis Tech Talks presented by Green Rebates. We are here at MJ BizCon, and I'm sitting down with Rob Carter from ZeroEyes. How's it going?
It's going great. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. It's a great conference so far, so happy to be here.
Awesome. I've been really looking forward to this conversation because I think very specifically as a Cannabis Tech Talk, what you do is exactly what the people who listen to this podcast want to hear about. So can you just give us an overview of what ZeroEyes is to start?
Yeah, so ZeroEyes is an artificial intelligence gun detection solution. So we integrate with existing security cameras to detect brandished firearms. So once we integrate with your existing security cameras and a gun is brandished in view of one of your cameras, we pick up that detection. It goes to our in-house operation center, which is manned 24/7, 365 by all former U.S. military or law enforcement professionals. And they have a job to do is to determine if that is a lethal firearm, yes or no, and to dispatch that lethal firearm. And when they press dispatch, those alerts go out in as fast as 3 to 5 seconds to your building personnel and also local law enforcement, so they know what situation they're responding to, who they're looking for, their last known locations, and what kind of threat situation is happening at the time.
When was the company founded?
So the company was founded in 2018. So after, if you're familiar or not, the Parkland shooting happened in Florida in 2018. So our company was kind of founded in the wake of that. Our CEO at the time, he had a daughter in middle school at the time, and they did some active shooter training. She came home pretty shaken up after that event, rightfully so. And they came to the conclusion, our founders, that something needed to be done about gun violence. Every time one of these happens, we keep seeing the same presentation in the parking lot, in the stairwell, coming out of the bathroom, something along those lines. And they came to the conclusion that something needs to be done. Let's detect these guns with the cameras that are already in place and notify the appropriate personnel. So we've been around for almost 7 years at this point, kind of going strong.
So how many dispensaries are in your network right now? Do you have a number?
So I don't have a total number. What I can say is that pretty much anywhere that there is a camera in place and potential gun problem, whether that's mass shooting scenario, escalation of gun violence, targeted gun violence, if there's potential for a gun to be in view of one of your cameras, ZeroEyes is a great fit for your locations.
Yeah, I'm thinking very specifically about in 2020 when the outbreak of the pandemic, at the height of it, when everyone was on lockdown, there were a lot of smash and grab robberies happening of dispensaries. So I'm sure that must have been a busy time for you guys.
Sure, yeah. So that's a great example. Is what I hear pretty often in this industry and at this conference is a concern is robberies, break-ins, people trying to do harm, whether it's to take money, take product, whatever it may be, or violence in general. And having a solution like ZeroEyes in place offers early notification, real-time information, so that hopefully you can protect your employees, protect your store or whatever it may be, and get law enforcement to the scene sooner with actionable intelligence.
It's about mitigating the violence.
Yes.
What is your background? How did you come to work in this field?
Yeah, so for me personally, I joined ZeroEyes straight out of the Navy. I spent 8 years in the Navy as a Navy SEAL. I discovered ZeroEyes through kind of my online research as to what I wanted to do next. And essentially, as soon as I found it, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. If there's any way for me to work for that company, that's where I want to work. Personally, I have kids going through the school system, and it's a mission that drives, hits me in the heart pretty strongly. So I was pretty much committed as soon as I found out about ZeroEyes, and then I've been going for, I guess, 2.5 years at this point with the company.
Have you had to have any conversations with your former colleagues from the Navy about the fact that you're working in a space that involves cannabis?
No, I think that space, at least, my personal relationships, people are pretty comfortable, whether, for me personally, what I will say, and with those relationships, gun violence against the vulnerable, whether that's people, whether it's children in a school, people in a hospital, people trying to just work and own their own business in a distillery, something along those lines. They're vulnerable. They're not. People are trying to do harm towards people that can't protect themselves in that moment, and that is wrong. And that everyone deserves to be protected from things like that.
What are your thoughts on this sort of next era that we're facing with the incoming administration, both with the potential for legislation around guns and also for the cannabis space?
I will say that ZeroEyes fits regardless of what direction any of those things go. So ZeroEyes isn't detecting people. It's not, if on one side you may say take guns away, on the other side you may say, more guns. So us, we're detecting brandished firearms. If you brandish a gun in view of one of our customers' cameras, we're going to detect it, and we're going to dispatch appropriately. So to us, it doesn't matter necessarily what's happening outside. It's to protect here and now, and not worry as much about what's going to happen in the future. We're here to protect folks now.
Right. So you're not policy focused. You're really about the circumstances that are going on in the moment.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So do you have thoughts about what the next era holds for AI specifically, as everything's developing so rapidly? Like what's on the horizon?
I think that things will continue to develop. Obviously, technology grows, computer power grows, things get better. So we've been around for about 7 years, and we're growing, each and every single day. What I will say is our human in the loop is extremely, extremely important. So we staff our operations center with all former military, all former law enforcement professionals, and they verify all of those alerts that come in, so that end users aren't receiving false positives. Their false positives aren't going out to them. They're getting true detections, so that when they receive a ZeroEyes alert, they know this is the real deal and it needs to be taken seriously. And so the human element is very, very important.
So if someone is listening to this and they're ex-military and they want to apply for a job to work with you, that must be pretty involved. It sounds like there's some serious background checks and high-level
Sure.
requirements, right?
Sure. Yeah. So yes, that comes with the territory. I would say, especially any military personnel, reach out to me personally. I'm happy to have a conversation, but reach out to the company, have conversations, see what you're interested in within the company. We have departments all across. We have veterans all across. About 80% of our company is either former military or former law enforcement. So have those conversations, get an idea on what you may be interested in, and as things become available, whether either apply or have those conversations, and hopefully we can find the right role for the right candidates.
What are some of the obstacles that you face as an operation?
So we're an all-encompassing solution. So we handle everything in-house, whether it's building our data set and algorithms, to deploying our operations, whether it's the servers on site or installing the cameras, our sales process, our marketing team, everything is in-house for ZeroEyes. So we don't outsource any of that, meaning that there's a lot going on at the company.
Right. You have a bunch of coders locked in a room somewhere?
So we have a fully staffed AI development team. So we have folks, walking around in our green screen lab. We have a 5,000 square foot green screen lab at our office. We have folks walk around all day with guns in there to train the algorithm. And then we have our development team kind of take all that footage back in and build out from there.
Is there a discrepancy between the existing camera systems and this very high technology that you're bringing in? Because I'm sure that there are a lot of dispensaries that are using sort of like low-tech surveillance systems. How does that work?
So it definitely does vary. But for us specifically, if your cameras are digital IP cameras and they're a minimum of 720p resolution, there's a good chance that we will work together, or we work. We always go through a audit process. So we'll bring that in, we'll confirm that they all work prior to moving forward. But yeah, we absolutely make sure all those work. The requirements are pretty low, and yeah.
And so you must have experienced, since the founding of the company 7 years ago, you must be experiencing some significant growth.
We've grown pretty rapidly. We're in thousands of buildings across the country in 43 states across the country currently.
Wow. And are you planning on moving into other parts of the cannabis world, like the global imprint, Canada?
Yes. I think anywhere that there are cameras in place and a potential gun problem, ZeroEyes is a solution that can be in place. Now, security does come in layers. ZeroEyes is not the all-encompassing solution for security, but you need to think of security in layers, and ZeroEyes is a vital layer to, situational awareness, early notification of guns being on property and things like that. Regardless of what your industry is or what your specific vertical within that industry is, ZeroEyes can play a factor.
Amazing. What are your hopes for this next chapter in the business evolution, and for just for yourself and with ZeroEyes?
I want to be on as many cameras as possible. The more cameras we're on, the more guns we detect, the more potential tragedies and loss of life we can help prevent. And the more guns we detect, the earlier we notify, the more likely we get law enforcement and buildings either locked down or evacuated in the correct direction, and the more likely we prevent the loss of life. And that's kind of what keeps me going day in, day out.
Yeah, it's important in this world that we live in. Well, thank you so much. This has been so interesting. Where can people find out more about ZeroEyes and what you do?
You can find us, on any of the socials, but I would go to ZeroEyes.com to learn more. If you want to look into ZeroEyes 1, which is our smaller solution, or book a demo to learn more for some of the bigger facilities, absolutely go to the website and check us out.
And that's ZeroEyes.com?
Yes, ZeroEyes.com.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Rob, thank you so much. This has been really interesting.
Awesome.
This has been another episode of Cannabis Tech Talks here at the Green Rebates stage. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Growing crops can be complicated. There's data to analyze, strategies to build, and equipment to keep in perfect shape. But with the IIVO Compact Plus from Hugendorn Growth Management, brought to you by TC Controls, these challenges become opportunities. IIVO Compact Plus is an advanced control system designed to automate every aspect of your growing environment with precision. Think of it as your in-house analyst, coach, and guide all in one. Plus, TC Controls expert technicians handle everything from design to installation and ongoing service, so you can stay focused on what matters most, your crops. Step into the future of cultivation with IIVO by TC Controls. Visit tccontrols.com to learn more. That's tccontrols.com.